Hello, and welcome to the 125th edition of Beer Issues. My name is Matt Brucker, and I'm coming to you live here from Casa de Brucker, where we're going to be having another fantastic German beer for the month of October. Today we're going to be having the Hofbräu House Hefe Weizen. So I'm going to go ahead and waste no time and get into this. Now this beer, the ratings are all over the place. Beer Advocate says 88 of 100, which makes it a very good beer. And then you look at Beer Connoisseur, and they're 95 out of 100. So I'm going to give you my opinion on this afterwards, but we're going to go ahead and pour it. Look at that beautiful pour there. Look at that. That's just a thing of beauty. So we know we got some really good carbonation there, as you can see. We got a perfect head. We do have the cloudiness that you get from a good Hefeweizen because the suspended yeast is what actually makes it cloudy like that. And as you know, we've talked about this before, the Hefe in Hefeweizen means yeast, and the Weizen means wheat. So it's a yeast wheat beer. Or they typically will use like a malted wheat. So anyway, this beer clocks in at 5.1% alcohol by volume. The original Hofbräu recipe is over 400 years old. It dates back to 1589. So let's go ahead and smell this. So they've been making this beer for a long time. This is out of Munich, Germany, by the way. So I get the smell of a typical German Hefeweizen. So you get like a clovey, almost, it's like a bubblegum smell. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's like a bubblegum smell with cloves. And then you do get a mild scent of bananas. Now, different German beers have different levels of that banana flavor you get in the beer. But I can smell a little bit of that banana flavor in this beer. And I'm not going to kid you, this is not my first time having this beer. I've had it many times before. But anyway, let's go ahead and smell it again. Oh yeah, yeah. So this is going to be a great Hefeweizen. I've had this before, so I'm not going to kid anybody. So let's get into it. Oh, now that is what I would expect from a good German Hefeweizen. Spot on. Has that clovey, almost like a banana scent or taste that you get at the end. But in the middle, you can taste those malts, the yeast, that you do get almost a little taste of like the bubble gum. It's hard to explain unless you're drinking it, but oh yeah. So to me, this is what I would look for in a traditional German Hefeweizen. They nail the style perfectly, and I guess they should. They've been making it for over 400 years. But it is excellent. Like I said, the beer is 5.1% alcohol, so it's not like overly boozy. It's actually a very smooth, well-balanced beer with the wheat and the yeast and everything just comes together. You can still watch the carbonation coming up from the bottom of this beer. It's still good and cloudy from the suspended yeast that's in the beer. So it's just a perfect representation of a Hefeweizen. And I do like Hefeweizens. I like the German style Hefeweizens. I mean, I like others too, but if I want to get right down to it, the true German style Hefeweizens are my favorite. When you get that clove, you get that like bubble gum, the banana type flavor. Those are the ones that, for me, if I'm looking to drink a Hefeweizen, this is spot on what I'd be looking for in a really solid Hefeweizen. And there's lots of great Hefeweizens out there. Don't get me wrong. There's many that are just absolutely wonderful, but typically the Germans tend to make the best Hefeweizens. Now there are a lot of great U.S. Hefeweizens also. but they tend to be a little bit different, but some of them still will make it to the German, style and recipe. If you remember, a Hefe Weizen is a top fermented beer, as opposed to like a Pilsner, which is a bottom fermented beer. So that kind of can tell you the difference between the two different styles. And I did drink some Pilsner even yesterday, and it was delicious. But it's just a completely different kind of beer. Now, Hefe Weizen actually does fall into the ale category, which a lot of people don't realize. They think it kind of is its own category, which it kind of is, but that's delicious. So I'm going to make sure to sit and relax and enjoy this beer because it really is a good one. And if you've enjoyed this, make sure you tell your friends and make sure they tell their friends until everybody knows about how much fun we're having drinking beer and talking about beer on Beer Issues. And if you want any cool gear like hats, t-shirts, anything like that, go to shop.beerissues.com. And as my wife likes to say, I have beer issues.